Thinking about packing your bags and moving to Gainesville, Athens, Branson, Eureka Springs, or Hot Springs? Well, hold on tight, because not everything that glitters in these supposedly charming towns is gold. From overpriced coffee shops to traffic nightmares, from creepy quiet streets to surprisingly high crime rates, we're diving into why people move here and quickly regret it. Buckle up, because I'm about to take you on a brutally honest tour from Gainesville to Hot Springs, where the reality bites harder than the sun in Florida. Gainesville, Florida. Welcome to the land where the oranges aren't the only thing that's sour. Your patience might be too if you decide to move here. Famous for being a college town, home to the University of Florida, it sounds like paradise. Football Saturdays, cute coffee shops, a buzzing downtown. But let me warn you, living in Gainesville isn't just about tailgates and street festivals. The reality? It has more twists than a third-year calculus class. And trust me, you don't get extra credit for surviving it. The dream of Gainesville. Let's start with the obvious perks. Gainesville has that classic college town charm. Students everywhere, sometimes walking, sometimes biking, sometimes just taking over your street at 2 a.m. The nightlife is vibrant, with bars, music venues, and an endless parade of themed parties that make you feel like you're living in a never-ending spring break commercial. And if you're into sports, congratulations, you've just found your new religion. Gators football. Saturdays here aren't just games, they're full-blown festivals that will leave you cheering, sunburned, and probably $20 poorer on snacks you didn't need. But let's peel back the filter. First, traffic. Gainesville's streets might look quaint on Google Maps, but try driving them at 4 p.m. on a weekday. You'll discover that all those charming tree-lined avenues turn into parking lots with a side of road rage. And don't get me started on parking near the campus. Good luck finding a spot that doesn't cost more than your monthly Netflix subscription. Then there's the housing situation. Gainesville has this magical ability to make you pay a small fortune for what could generously be called a studio. And if you want something decent, congratulations! You've just signed up for bidding wars against desperate graduate students and professors who apparently have no problem paying twice the market rate just to live 5 minutes from campus. Oh, and the population? Technically, it's around 140,000 people, but during the school year, throw in roughly 50,000 students who move in and out like clockwork, and suddenly it feels like a small city constantly rebooting itself. Good luck building a sense of community when half your neighbors leave every May and return next August, confused why their recycling bin is missing. Crime and safety. Now let's talk safety. Gainesville isn't exactly Gotham City, but crime statistics aren't exactly cheering either. Petty theft, burglary, occasional car break-ins, these happen more often than the city will admit on its tourist website. And let's be honest, if you live close to downtown, you're going to see a fair share of police sirens, because Gainesville's charm also comes with the kind of late-night chaos only a college town can provide. Cost of living is another story. Florida doesn't have a state income tax, so hooray, right? Except your rent and groceries will make you question that celebration. According to recent data, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment hovers around $1,200 to $1,400 per month, and utilities aren't far behind. Want to eat out regularly? Expect prices that will make your wallet cry silently while you sip overpriced coffee that tastes like disappointment. And culturally, Gainesville is interesting. There's live music, art galleries, quirky boutiques, and a surprisingly strong foodie scene. But here's the catch. Everything peaks when the students are around. Summer, empty streets, closed businesses, tumbleweeds. The perfect college town vibe is largely seasonal, so if you move here hoping for year-round energy, prepare for long stretches of existential quiet. Final verdict on Gainesville. So, Gainesville in a nutshell, it's beautiful, vibrant, and full of life, but only if you're willing to put up with traffic, high rent, transient neighbors, and occasional petty crime. It's a city that promises excitement and delivers, well, some excitement, but also headaches, financial stress, and a constant reminder that yes, you are paying a premium to live in a town where the squirrels might be more consistent residents than your neighbors. In short, Gainesville looks amazing on Instagram, and weekends are fantastic. But live here long-term, you'll either love it for its quirks or curse the day you moved. Either way, it's unforgettable, mostly because it keeps testing your patience in ways no other college town dares to.
Ah, Athens, Georgia. Welcome to the so-called Athens experience, where music legends are born, art galleries abound, and moss-draped oaks make every street look like a Hallmark card. It's charming, it's picturesque, and if you believe everything you see in those Instagram photos, you might also believe that moving here will instantly turn your life into a Wes Anderson movie. Spoiler alert, it won't. The dream of Athens. Let's start with what makes Athens look perfect. It's a college town, home to the University of Georgia, which means you have all the perks of student life without actually being a student yourself. Well, if you enjoy watching 20-year-olds stress over finals while you sip overpriced craft coffee. The music scene here is legendary. REM, the B-52s, and a ton of indie bands you've never heard of. They all hail from this town. So if you're into live shows, local breweries, and quirky shops, Athens can feel like a dream come true. The downtown area is adorable. Streets lined with historic buildings, murals, and a seemingly endless supply of brunch spots. Seriously, brunch here is basically a competitive sport. Add some live music and outdoor patios, and suddenly you're questioning if you ever need to leave town again. The reality check. But let's peel back the glossy brochure. First off, Athens is small. The population hovers around 125,000 people, which might sound cozy, but small cities have their own kind of weird problems. Jobs outside of the university? Limited. Serious career opportunities? Rare. You might find yourself excited for a new barista job at a local cafe, and then wondering why your college degree feels like a very expensive piece of paper. Traffic isn't exactly a nightmare, but let's just say that certain intersections will make you consider the philosophical meaning of life while waiting at a red light for 10 minutes. And parking? Forget about it downtown during game day. You'll be circling like a hawk just to score a spot, while students casually stroll past, blissfully unaware that they've ruined your afternoon. Cost of living. Cost of living in Athens is, well, moderate. You won't find the astronomical rents of Gainesville, but it's still expensive for what you get. A one-bedroom apartment averages around $1,000 to $1,200 per month, and utilities plus groceries add another punch to your wallet. Dining out, entertainment, and occasional weekend getaways. Plan accordingly because the budget-friendly vibes end where your Instagram aesthetic begins. Crime and safety. Athens is relatively safe compared to big cities, but it's not perfect. Petty theft, occasional break-ins, and that one suspicious guy you see every morning near the coffee shop. Reality check. Charming college towns still have crime, and while you might feel safe strolling the downtown streets at night, remember, a pretty facade doesn't pay for a broken window or a stolen bike. Culture versus reality. Culture-wise, Athens has a lot to offer. Art galleries, music venues, festivals, and quirky local shops make it feel alive. But there's a catch. Most of the energy comes from students. Summer months can feel slow. Empty streets, closed businesses, tumbleweeds rolling past your front door. The perfect small college town vibe is seasonal, so if you're moving here expecting constant excitement, prepare for months of existential quiet, broken only by the occasional G-Day frenzy. Neighborhoods and living situations. Now let's talk neighborhoods. Athens has cute historic areas, leafy streets, and charming bungalows that scream, "Local artist lives here." Sounds nice, right? Until you realize that charming also means expensive. If you want the dream home in a desirable area, your bank account will feel the burn. On the other hand, cheaper neighborhoods exist, but then you're balancing charm with practical annoyances, like older plumbing, occasional traffic noise, and neighbors who might be a little too enthusiastic about lawn care. Final verdict on Athens. So, Athens in a nutshell, it's culturally rich, visually stunning, and full of life if you're okay with seasonal crowds, limited career options, and a cost of living that punches above its weight. It's the kind of place you'll either fall in love with for its quirks or curse every time your rent is due. Instagram-perfect streets don't pay the bills after all. In short, Athens looks like a dream, especially in spring or during a music festival. Live here long-term, it's a delicate balance between enjoying the charm and surviving the reality. But hey, at least your weekend brunch photos will be phenomenal.
Branson, Missouri. Welcome to the live music capital of the Midwest, also known as the place where Elvis impersonators outnumber actual residents on any given weekend. Branson is famous for its theaters, attractions, and small-town charm, or at least the version of charm you see on the postcards and tourist brochures. But living here? Well, that's a different story. The dream of Branson? Let's start with the obvious perks. Branson has entertainment everywhere. Music shows, comedy acts, magic shows, museums, go-kart tracks, you name it. If you like your weekends packed with over-the-top, perfectly rehearsed performances, Branson delivers. And don't forget the natural beauty. Table Rock Lake and the Ozark Mountains make it feel like you're living in a scenic screensaver. For tourists, it's paradise. For residents, well, buckle up. For families or retirees looking for that stereotypical small-town vibe, Branson looks like a dream. Quaint neighborhoods, charming Main Street, festivals that pop up year-round. You can practically hear the banjo music in the background as you sip your overpriced craft soda on a sunny afternoon. It's picture perfect until reality barges in. The reality check. Let's talk economy. Branson is, in many ways, a city built for tourists. That means seasonal jobs, fluctuating income, and a lot of businesses that close during the off-season. Sure, you can work in a theater or a souvenir shop, but unless you're ready for a roller coaster income that spikes in summer and drops in winter, you might want to reconsider. The local economy doesn't exactly scream stability. It screams, hope you like stress and budget spreadsheets. Traffic? Surprisingly, not bad. Branson isn't huge, so you can get around easily most of the time. But here's the catch. Weekends, holidays, and summer months turn the town into a human zoo. Streets are crowded with RVs, tourists, and confused drivers who don't know where to park. Imagine trying to run errands while dodging people taking selfies with Elvis statues. Fun times. Cost of living. Now you might think, hey, small town equals cheap living. Not entirely. Housing is relatively affordable compared to big cities, yes, but properties in the nicest neighborhoods or near the lake, suddenly your mortgage feels like it's on vacation in Hawaii while you're stuck in a tiny, slightly outdated ranch-style home. Utilities are reasonable, groceries are manageable, but once you factor in tourism-driven price spikes for services and entertainment, you realize even small-town life has hidden costs. Crime and safety. Crime, it's not New York City, but petty theft and occasional break-ins do happen, and while it's mostly safe, tourists bring unpredictability. Pickpockets, rare but possible. Weird late-night shenanigans from temporary visitors, more common than you'd like. Living here means accepting that part of Branson's charm is its chaos during peak season. Culture versus reality. Culturally, Branson is quirky. There's a lot of entertainment, sure, but authentic local culture? It can be scarce if you're used to a city with diverse art, music, and nightlife scenes. The local restaurants are cute, but beyond a few main streets, options are limited. Your social life will largely revolve around either tourists, retirees, or the seasonal workforce. If you like unpredictability, well, you'll get it. Neighborhoods in living situations. Branson has its neighborhoods, from lakeside homes to small suburban areas. Scenic? Absolutely. Quiet most of the year.
But if you move here expecting constant excitement and variety, reality strikes back. The town thrives on tourism, which means your favorite spots are crowded for a few months and ghost towns the rest of the year. It's a cycle you learn to love or hate. Final verdict on Branson. So, Branson in a nutshell, it's beautiful, fun for tourists, and full of entertainment. But living here year-round is a test of patience, adaptability, and budget management. It's a town where postcard perfection meets real-life quirks, where every day is charming until you remember you live here and have bills to pay. Some will love it, others will quickly realize that small-town entertainment isn't a sustainable lifestyle. Either way, Branson leaves an impression, whether it's from the music, the traffic, or the endless Elvis impersonators wandering your street. In short, Branson looks magical on weekends, but life here requires a sense of humor, tolerance for seasonal chaos, and a love for small-town theatrics. Welcome to the Midwest's very own amusement park. Just don't forget that you're not a tourist anymore.
Eureka Springs, Arkansas. The town that looks like it was plucked straight from a storybook, with winding streets, Victorian architecture, and hills that make every photo look like a postcard. It's charming, quaint, and perfect, if your definition of perfect doesn't include traffic, grocery stores, or, basic modern conveniences. Let's dive into what living in this picturesque town is really like. The dream of Eureka Springs. First, let's talk about what makes Eureka Springs irresistible at first glance. You have the historic downtown, cobblestone streets, boutique shops, art galleries, and Victorian homes that scream, "I have a story to tell." Add in the natural beauty, rolling hills, lakes, and forests, and it feels like you're living inside a Pinterest board. Tourists flock here for the charm, the festivals, the spas, and the art scene. It's a photographer's paradise, a honeymooner's dream, and frankly, the kind of place that makes you question if the rest of the world is just too ordinary. There's a vibe here that's almost intoxicating. The town leans into its eccentricity with quirky shops, crystal stores, and old-timey candy shops that make you feel like you stepped back a century. For a weekend getaway, absolutely magical. For living, well, let's get real. The reality check. Eureka Springs has a population of about 2,000 permanent residents. That's right, 2,000. And while that contributes to the charm, it also means that many services, amenities, and jobs are limited. Want a full-scale grocery store nearby? Sorry, you're gonna drive a bit. Need a hospital or specialized medical care? Better pack a lunch and a playlist for the drive. Small towns are quaint until you realize quaint sometimes equals inconvenient. Then there's tourism. It's a blessing and a curse. On one hand, you have festivals, ghost tours, and a vibrant art scene. On the other, you have crowds, traffic, and parking nightmares during peak tourist season. Living here means constantly navigating between locals only and tourist overload. And trust me, the tourists always win. Housing and cost of living. Housing is another interesting topic. On paper, Eureka Springs looks affordable. You can find Victorian cottages that make your jaw drop. But the catch, maintenance, utilities, and property taxes in historic homes add up fast. That charming old house with stained glass windows, it will eat your wallet like it's a Sunday brunch buffet. And if you're looking for something modern, good luck. Options are limited and the prices aren't exactly budget-friendly. Crime and safety. Crime here is generally low, which is great, but small-town quirks exist. Petty theft and property crime happen occasionally. And remember, in a town this small, everyone knows everyone. Gossip spreads faster than the local Wi-Fi, and your parking ticket might be the talk of Main Street before lunch. Charming, yes. Perfectly calm, not entirely. Culture versus reality. Culture-wise, Eureka Springs is undeniably rich. The art scene is vibrant, the festivals are numerous, and the historic vibe is unparalleled. But living here means accepting that a big night out might involve one small bar, one tiny restaurant, and a lot of walking up steep hills.
Athens or Gainesville have nightlife that rivals their student population, Eureka Springs has, well, local charm and ghost tours. It's fun, but it's not exactly the city that never sleeps. Also, the town leans heavily on tourism for its economy. Many jobs are seasonal. Working in a shop or as a tour guide might be fun, but it's not exactly a stable career path unless your resume includes professional ghost storyteller. Residents adapt, but newcomers often underestimate how dependent this small town is on outsiders and seasonal visitors. Neighborhoods and living situations. The neighborhoods are scenic and historic with plenty of charm. Hills, creeks, and hidden alleys make exploration fun, but accessibility can be an issue. Steep streets, narrow lanes, and older homes with quirky layouts aren't for everyone. But if you like convenience and straight lines, Eureka Springs will challenge you daily. But if you love eccentricity and adventure in your day-to-day, you might just fall in love. Final verdict on Eureka Springs. So Eureka Springs, in a nutshell, it's visually stunning, culturally rich, and a delight for visitors. But living here year-round requires patience, flexibility, and a sense of humor. It's the kind of town that captures your heart with its beauty and quirks, but occasionally frustrates you with its limitations. If you can handle the hills, the small-town logistics, and seasonal chaos, you might find yourself enchanted. Otherwise, well, you might just end up nostalgically visiting for a weekend and returning to reality elsewhere. In short, Eureka Springs is perfect until reality checks in. It's a town that will make your Instagram feed look incredible, your wallet slightly lighter, and your patience tested. But hey, if charm is what you're after, congratulations, you just found it in spades.
So there you have it. Gainesville, Athens, Branson, Eureka Springs, and Hot Springs. Each one looks amazing on paper, and yes, they all have that postcard-perfect charm. But living there? Well, reality has a way of crashing the party. Traffic, high rent, seasonal chaos, tourists, quirky neighbors, and the occasional rogue squirrel. Welcome to small town and college town life in America. Here's the takeaway. These towns are perfect for a visit, a weekend getaway, or Instagram photos that make your friends jealous. But if you're thinking about moving here permanently, take a deep breath, check the stats, and maybe pack a sense of humor, because you're gonna need it. Which of these 5 cities would make you pack your bags, and which would make you run screaming back home? Comment below. I want to hear your brutally honest thoughts. And if you survived this tour of charm versus reality, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we've got plenty more brutally honest, sarcastic, and completely unapologetic takes on American towns coming your way. Until next time, I'm Mr. State, keeping it real whether you like it or not.